He said a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of clips on Instagram about Ye. So we'll go to Ye and see what he talking about. See if we can parse through some of the stuff that he was saying, and if we can get anything out of it, we'll go from there. All right.
First off, man, when we think about Vultures 1, Vultures 2, and we understand as
One for a long time.
we eat so much together that y'all can say, we're not just doing one, we're not just doing two, we're doing three.
Yeah.
So when you guys come together and you say, I want you to executive produce the album, or y'all really think we could put something together, at the moment, let's say,
You know, we'll be working at 3 a.m. or sleeping in, and you know, I got to a point where I was, you know, recalibrating my whole life, frustrated with a lot of the positions I've been in, and you know, my focus over the past year and a half was the music, and then the clothing, mostly the.
Yeah, I listen to Vultures, Messi. I think that it's dope. I think that I really like the album. Um, I don't know. It's so weird to see how. Hold on, let me remove this. It's so weird to see how Ty Dolla Sign was able to come with Ye and make a much, much greater body of work than Ty Dolla Sign's own solo album, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? If anybody actually listened to Ty Dolla Sign's solo album versus what he put together with Ye, it's a completely different thing. So I really like Vultures. Um, yeah, Vultures is a dope album.
Choose. So I put everything I had left into both of those, in both of those channels, and they end up supporting each other at the same time. But Ty, you know, even like how like Mike Dean didn't work on this project. Mike Dean was the kind of person that you could hand him something and he'll hand you a finished product back that you could decide, I like this, I like that. That's like how Ty, you can give him something, even like just a murmur of something. He could bring it back with the words. That's called confidence. That's this is called delusion.
hey man, but
You be singing though.
yeah, and the thing about it, man, is not only do you sing, Ye, you get a whole crowd to sing with you. And the one thing that we do know is that when we hear you, we know it's you. You know what I'm saying? And there's a difference between, well, when you can put your own imprint into something and people know exactly what it is, then you have created something that's dear to us. You know, and so when we look at music, bro, this is, when we say music is a soundtrack to our lives, too. I mean, no matter the collaboration and not ego.
Not speak egotistically, so I'm not gonna talk.
Right? Well, speak egotistically.
We definitely needed it. And yeah, I could play all the instruments, I could put all the stuff together, but come, you know, in the studio with him, it was like taking it to a whole nother level, picking them parts. I'll come with a song, for instance, and the song will be fully done as far as I'm concerned. He come back, man, change that shit like 20 times.
No, not
And
yet.
like it go from like a dance music song to Back to Me. Like if you would have heard the first Back to Me, it was like completely different. He took my song, put it in the ASR 10, which is a keyboard with a sampler, slowed it down, rocked the sample like that. Then that was in Japan. Then we get to Italy, we play it again, we got some words to it. Then we going through some drums, he pick a whole different thing. I'm like thinking it's not it. All of a sudden it's crazy. So
Yeah, it does get worse before it gets better. It's like when girls have like plastic surgery like that, when they get like the BBL, they gotta like drive in the car and like they kind of like
Sit on pads, hurting each other.
No, they can't even sit on pad and stuff. They definitely can't get on Spirit. They gotta.
Jesus Christ. Have y'all ever seen any of those? Have y'all ever seen any of those videos that be on Instagram or TikTok of the chicks that be like it be like if you fly back from Miami or something like that, and it be a whole bunch of women on a Spirit flight, and they all on their knees facing the front of the seat because they can't actually sit down because they got a BBL and they wasn't down there long enough to actually recover. If you go down to Miami and you get a shit, we so far off subject. If you go down to Miami and you rent out certain Airbnbs, like if you go on Airbnb and you go to certain Airbnbs in Miami, they will tell you in the description or in the unit before you rent it, it'll say like no surgery, no BBLs, no recoveries, no none of that stuff. I'm assuming because it be so like so much blood and so nasty. Man, listen, bro. The type of stuff that women have to go through on a recovery of a BBL, I don't even know why y'all do that anyway. Y'all be suffering. And y'all be in pain and messed up and stuff. I look for y'all to go through that just to be looking like ants is insane to me. For y'all to go do that and then be looking like ants afterwards is crazy to me. But let's continue.
Yes, sir.
So it get that like that moment right there, but then waking up and she gorgeous. I'm like, I be like tell Ty like a song like the BBL's almost ready.
Right.
It's almost ready for the summer.
Does he say that to you? Like, do y'all also not only compliment each other, can you tell each other what's not working? And can you put Ye back in the booth?
Nope.
And can Ye put you back in?
I tried to remove the cursing a bunch of times and he was like, I was like, oh, what do you think? At the last one, I'm like, what do you think we make this thing all clean? He's like,
No. You don't do. That's what I'm feeling right now.
Jesus, there's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I ain't see. But
Jesus still is. This is what I'm feeling right now. Are you in that space where you're comfortable enough to say, this is where I am right now? I'm still a man of God. Jesus still is king, but this is Vultures right now. This is where I am.
It is, but I have my issues with Jesus. There's a lot of stuff I went through that I prayed and I ain't see Jesus show up. So I had to put my experience in this world, my experience with my children, my experience with other people, my experience with my account, my experience with my brand, and my experience with the level of music that I was dealing with in my own hands. Like a lot of times I just feel like in our society in America, people, Christians, we're depend on Jesus so much that we won't put the word in ourselves. And the main thing that really that I don't rock with is like, it's just always like, I'm gonna pray for you. And it's just like, you can actually physically do something yourself too, more than just pray. And we're so in this mentality that's all that needs to happen, but we ain't praying our way out of prison. We ain't praying our way out of the abortion clinics. We ain't praying our way to get our land back that was always ours after gentrification, after the Harlem Renaissance and Black Wall Street was burned to the ground. Them prayers ain't working. We have to apply actual physical building partnerships, and it don't start unless we could really be real with each other and say, this is what I did, this is what I did. Like, I mean, look at this. I know I'm not gonna third rail y'all interview, but look at the power of what happened when me and Kyrie was on the same page. See, that's what's...
I'm gonna react to it. I want to make sure you get his whole thoughts off because I know Kanye can go through a lot of these. What other people would think is an incoherent rant, but then it'll all make sense at the end. So I'm gonna just give him the benefit of the doubt because I want to hear everything that he's saying.
Scary. But what they do is they put us each in a silo and say, your grandmother gonna lose her crib and this gonna, you know how many threats we've been dealt with? And I didn't pray my way through them threats either. I had to get up and do it myself. I had so much to do, I ain't had time to pray. So that's where, that's who my issue is. And look at where I'm at today.
Show up.
Show up, you know what I'm saying? I understand that that's a controversial.
No, we gotta speak.
But I dropped the con.
No, we got and that's just real life too.
I think that he's 100% wrong, and let me tell you why. First of all, A lot of the things that you create for yourself is a self-inflicted wound. A lot of the situations that we put ourselves in are self-inflicted wounds. And then we sit there and we say, we want God or we want Jesus to be able to show up for us how we want him to show up, not what it is that he feels is best for us. Sometimes he lets us go through it in order for us to be able to learn certain lessons, and we don't learn the lessons, and then we want to blame it on God or we want to blame it on Jesus in order to rescue us from something that we created for ourselves. And that's not how God works. That's not how it works. Sometimes Jesus also sends to you what you need through other things or what other people, or he make you take the long way, but you don't realize it until you get the revelation. Now, I also understand what he's saying as far as actually putting pen to pad or doing it yourself, because basically what he's communicating is faith without works is dead. And so he's saying that, yeah, you can pray, but then you got to actually get up and do something on top of it. What he said problematic, which I think I understand what he was saying, but what made it problematic is when he tried to blame it on Jesus from not rescuing you from yourself and your own self-inflicted wounds. Ain't nobody tell you to go and get with Kim Kardashian. Ain't nobody ever told you to sign the deal that you decided to sign in the first place. Nobody told you to do any of the stuff that you did. That was all your own doing. And then because you feel or you believe that this is the way that things are supposed to go, Jesus is supposed to comply to your demands. You don't know what Jesus' plan is. It says that his ways and his thoughts are so far and above what it is that we think that we can even fathom on the face of this earth. But yet he's supposed to be paying attention to little old you over anything else that's going on in the world. That's why we got angels. That's why we got legions of angels. That's why, listen, bro. I understand what he's saying. And I think that he's conflating the way that he's communicating about Jesus. But I also think that he lacks understanding. And so I'm going to give him a little bit of grace. I'm going to give him a little bit of grace because I think that he lacks understanding to truly understand exactly how God works and how Jesus works, especially considering now that we in the New Testament. And so I think that I understand what he's trying to say, but I definitely think that it's a lack of understanding because he really don't understand how God and how Jesus works, right? Most of the wounds that we have, they be self-inflicted wounds, but then we want Jesus to come and then come down with a legion of angels in order to make sure that he accommodates us for what we think that we go through. It also says inside of the Bible that it rains on the just and the unjust. Let me say that again. It rains on the just and the unjust, right? Sinners and saints alike go through things. Life happens. Sometimes you're born with, sometimes you're born without. Sometimes you get rich, sometimes you don't. But the fact of the matter is it doesn't absolve you from being able to go through some of the things that other people go through. And just because you're a saint don't mean that you're not going to endure through what happens on this earth. As a matter of fact, one of the things that Jesus says is if you suffer with me, you will reign with me. So the very idea that we put so much stock into what we have in this carnal mind and on this earth, this is extra. This is extra. What you do with your lot in life is then going to determine whether or not you get your crown in heaven and whether or not you walk the streets of gold. But I don't believe even a little bit that Jesus has forsaken you. I think that you may have an issue, but you better check that shit at the door because you have a lack of understanding. So before you mention his name, you need to understand what you're dealing with. That's just my personal opinion on that.
Bro, the one thing that I wanted to, when we did get a chance to sit down, bro, is, you know, I didn't want to do a thing where, oh, we gotta hold back, and I don't even want this to feel like it's an saying. And sometimes conversation, and not we're three men here with obligations, responsibilities, and that is
It's really all the people that were stealing from me.
speak on it.
Like, I'm responsible.
Family members,
Yeah.
all that. Gotta let it deal with the pain and keep going.
Is music where you are right now, Ye? Do you enjoy music where you are right now?
Yeah, I love the art of it. There's songs like Do It. I love the song, and I hadn't loved a song like that at that tempo since back that thing up. So that's what made me think. I was like, man, I love Juvenile and Manny Fresh and Cash Money. Like this is like, they used to be playing like house music and hip hop music in the club, and like me and my guys would come in and make them play Cash Money. Whoa, whoa, Kimo Sabe, big ballin' is my hobby. Like, and like Juvenile, the Hot video, and just the 400 Degrees album, and you know, just leaning into things. I believe the music came across because I leaned into things that I like when I like what I liked and shit.
Technically, Tim says, respectfully, I don't agree with your whole concept and religion that you have to die first to experience heaven. I want my heaven right now. So, don't nobody care about what you want. I want $1 billion. The word says what it is. And I mean, you could say that you don't agree or you don't believe in the word of God in a way that I believe in it. But the word is the word. It was here before me. It's going to be here after us. And don't nobody care about what you want. The only thing that matters is if you go about doing it the right way. You could be successful, you couldn't be successful, but I played a long game. And so it's not, respectfully, it's not about, for me, it's not necessarily about what I want. It's about whether or not I'm actually in the will of God. That's the only thing that matters. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Everything else will be added unto you. So, but I mean, we might have a difference of opinion just because we may not necessarily see things or believe things the same. So it ain't about what you want. I don't care about what I want. I only care about what's right.
You know, whether it was like looking at pornography or listening to Juvenile or buying my first chain from Jacob or wherever I got it. I had a real chain, but then I had like a fake rollie and fake earring, but I had to get the kit because the All-Star game was coming up. I couldn't go with just a chain.
We gotta have a costume. You know what I'm saying?
I had to, and I had to get the Range Rover 4.0 and try to cover the O and make it a 6.
I respect Ye for being honest about his thoughts, though.
Jay-Z had like wiped that out, but all of these subjects, you know, I remember sitting with North in Italy and playing her Back to Me and asking her, you know, what do you think about this line in the middle of the song? And I was like, do you think I should change this? And she's like, you know, it's a good song. Sometimes I feel like my mom speaks through her.
Wow.
So I'm like, she's like, it's a good song. This is just a banger. Like, you gotta say.
And anybody that have a disagreement with me, the link is pinned to the top of the chat for you to be able to jump on here. You ain't even got to cam up.
What you feel. You know, a lot of times when you go into the whole Jesus, devout, Paul level, fell off a donkey level religious, you have thoughts in your mind and that you hiding them from yourself. And then you sitting there and the whole choir is bucking, y'all singing about not bucking. Like, the niggas is stealing from you from the church. And it's like, man, like, I swear it's just, you can only see what's immediately in front of you. Like when they say Delulu, it's like, we lean on a lot of delusional concepts, and then it's just actual real concepts. Like say, like, you know, a big topic right now is, are we gonna sell the album? And the concept that, you know, the streaming companies have made a deal with the people that were in ownership of our contract and decided to give us, you know, a percentage of a penny. Mm-hmm. And people aren't getting paid properly, and you got people that are fans saying, oh, you know, I don't have the money for this, I don't have that. We used to just getting it for free, so they've lowered the value of what we do and what we make. Like our music, part of the reason why it's so much better is, like, obviously you got super mega talents, but it costs a lot to make this album too. We was in Saudi, Italy, flights, car service, strippers, you know, it was expensive.
Right after he talked about Jesus. Come on, man. And I like Ye, and I think that Ye is a genius, and I think that a lot of what he talks about, he's accurate on. And I like Ye. And this was right after he talked about Jesus. Right after he said, yo, I prayed to Jesus and Jesus ain't do what I asked him to do. And then he talking about being in Saudi and strippers and We all seen him on the boat getting head publicly and all of that stuff. Come on, man. Come on, man. What's going on, bro? All right, let's just go ahead and get off the religious part because I know that we all disagree, but at the very least, we can all agree that this is some hypocritical shit that he's talking about. Right after that, okay? So let's move on from that. But now he's talking about the cost, and I'm guessing that they spent millions and millions of dollars making an album. The value of something is what people are willing to pay for it. The value of something is what people are willing to pay for it. Now, I remember when Nipsey Hussle had dropped the album, and it was buy to pay, and he had got the concept, or something like pay to play or buy to pay, or whatever it was, and he had basically got the concept from Ryan Leslie. And the idea is that, you know, people pay what they want for the album, and people were paying up to $100, and I think that Jay-Z had bought a whole bunch of albums for like $1,000 an album or something like that. The value of something is what people are willing to pay for it. It's not what you invested in it. A lot of people invest and they throw a whole bunch of money modifying and putting a bunch of stuff in cars. People may not necessarily want that car, but just because you put $50,000 into it does not mean the value of that car is $70,000 because you paid $20,000 for the car and put $50,000 into it. That's not how it works. A lot of people will buy a real Rolex, bust it down, and then devalue the watch. The value of the watch is not based off of what you think is worth. It's based off of what other people see and is willing to pay for it. So,
The lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel like, how will the album go out? You know what I'm saying?
You made the
Like,
next ones?
Yeah.
You know, we talked about like how a movie, like Dune, we went to go see Dune, and they'll keep that movie a month, 2 months before it goes to a Disney, streaming Netflix, Hulu, or something like that. With our music, they acting like this ain't even luxury, like it don't deserve to have this moment where people who truly appreciate, the people come out to the theater, the people who, you know, talk about every line and want to hear it and see the, you know, see the listening sessions, those early adopters, like it's just supposed to be like just free, like,
man, I can't wait till my other chairs come. This shit is sitting in the stool. It's cool at first, and then that junk start getting a little irritating, bro.
even like, here's an example. Somebody I was working with put the album for $5 on my site. Everyone know my site at Yeezy.com is $20 for everything.
Right.
Then my album, like this album costs millions of dollars to make, hardship, overcoming like personal threats to everyone that was on it. It's like people was threatening our lives.
Shout out to Iceberg Slim. Iceberg Slim says Kanye has been a weirdo ever since he stopped going to the barbershop and started dressing like a federal inmate. I appreciate you, Iceberg Slim. Nah, you know, I can appreciate the eclectic nature of who Ye is. I can appreciate the eclectic nature of who Ye is because I don't like all of my artists to be the same or to look the same or to have the same look or the mindset. Like, I think that his titanium grills is dope. It's different. It's dope. And I also understand that an artist has to be in a creative space to create. You know, for me, I can live stream from home, and technically I can live stream from anywhere. Like, I could do the Millionaire Morning Show anywhere. I could do it from home every single day. Right? I could do it from my place out in the suburbs every single day. But it's a different energy based off of the creative space that I built and all of the money that I invested in the studio. Now, I can't come back and say, well, look at all of the money that I invested in the studio. Y'all should compensate me based off of the cost that it take for me to be able to produce the show. That's not how it works. That's not how it works, right? I invested in it, and so the value that I see in it is based off of my ability to produce, not people's ability to be able to compensate, right? So that's a personal choice. But I will tell you that, you know, I could imagine that he got his inspiration and maybe the strippers has put him in a mindset to create a certain song and all of that. Listen, you spent a whole bunch of money, you spent millions of dollars to do it, I feel you. I believe that my most creative space is not sitting here live streaming on a stool or live streaming from the comfort of my home. I don't care about that stuff. I have to be in my studio, and I curated my studio to be as comfortable as possible for me to be able to do it. I'm still modifying it and changing it all the time. It's probably always going to be under construction to some extent as far as changing different things or me having a vision for how I want things to be. But, you know, the value of something is what people are willing to pay for it.
Threatening our well-being, and actually not even playing with the money, canceling bank accounts. I got cousins whose Chase accounts got fired. This is real Black Mirror things that happen. So when it went #1, you know, I called it for people I know, like, yo, do you think Universal was capping my last albums ever since the Taylor Swift moment?
Maybe.
And no one could deny that that was happening.
Like not showing real numbers and the power.
Just limiting, turn it down, turn that boy down. That boy that went on stage and said Beyonce had the best video, turn that down. All the Lights is like number 28. All the Lights. It's a Runaway, you know.
Yeah, there was some great songs. There was some incredible songs. I don't see why Universal would throttle you though, because if you don't make money, then they don't make money. So I don't know why they would do that. I don't know, but he could be right.
Niggas in Paris was not a #1 record.
What do you think when people say that can't happen?
What can't
Like,
happen?
oh no, that's too big. That's a conspiracy. Like people, like what you're saying right now. There's probably somebody that think, nah, that can't happen, but it can happen.
For sure it can happen.
And it does happen.
And it
did happen.
My whole thing, it'd be in front of y'all face. That's what I like. When people drop this mental health shit, it makes it seem like, oh, it's like your family member that's seeing ghosts and y'all can't see it. What I love the most is y'all seen multiple ghosts. Y'all seen the ghost of, wow, they froze his accounts. Y'all seeing the ghost of, wow, they're selling his shoes against his will with his name on it. Y'all seeing the ghost of, wow, that man went independent and went #1. These are a lot of like myths.
And then when the album came out, it's like they kept on taking it down, if you didn't notice.
Yeah.
And it went back up. And then it's like when Carnival's #1 on Spotify, #1 on Apple, #1 on everything, something else went #1 on Billboard. You know? And it took a while for that, but now we're #1 on everything. So
You can't deny it, bro. How do you not beat your brain up knowing that if you're working and then you feel like something's not right here, or hold it down. Like really putting in with services or the reason to just say, man.
And you know, just look at I'm just talk billionaire math.
I'm gonna leave.
No, go ahead. You know, it's like billionaires, they just didn't accept the indoctrination from school that makes you overthink stuff. Stuff is right in front of you. I looked at the math. When I went to Adidas, they wasn't giving me a percentage at Nike. I went to Adidas, I looked at that math. Now I'm looking at just the conversion rates. Like we dropped the pods at $200 right before Christmas, and we got like 3,000 sales, and between the merch maybe made $1 million that one day on that website, which is low for the amount of sales and the audience that we had with the Yeezys. So then I always had this vision of doing everything $20. It's like my grandfather jumped through my body because he used to take me to the flea market when I was young, when I was lower than the table, and he had his house and he had his store across the lawn on the same property, and he had his Cadillac in the driveway, and he would go and teach me how to hustle and say, you know, and then go to stores in Chicago. You go to stores selling everything, some baby dolls, some toys, some fireworks, some other, like just whatever someone might need, like a Home Depot or QVC.
It's all over the place, man. It's all over the place. A lot of artists have a tendency to get a little weird after their second or third album. I agree. The labels really be doing something to their psyche. No, I don't think it got nothing to do with the label. That's the part that I disagree with. I think that it got something to do with the lifestyle that they live. Man, you got to remember, man, these people be city to city, state to state, hoes, more money than they ever seen or had in their entire life, living like rock stars, never had nothing when it was coming up. And now, you know, they start getting eclectic and they start getting different. Where I'm taking my pants off. I still got my hoop shorts on like Dame Dash, but I'm definitely taking my pants off. Now they get more money than they ever had before. That junk could ruin you, bro. That junk could absolutely ruin you. It ruins your psyche. It ruins your perspective of what life is, what value is, who women is around you, all of that. It ruins everything, bro. Appreciate you, Carl Oakley. I was about to say Charles Oakley.
Kind of thing, but it's his job as a merchant to do that. So it's like that merchant is inside of me. That's why I always think of all kind of products, from like house to shoes to the music, or like even when I was dealing with Balenciaga and Gap, there's times with the deal where it's just like grandfather just hopping through the phone, like speaking on my behalf, like, you know, and saying I done invented every style of music of the past 20 years. Apple, you know, I ain't never met with Tim Cook. They always send Larry Jackson or Eddie Q or Ebro to come talk to you and so. And I'm like, bro, I'm Steve. How I ain't gonna meet with? I'm the new Steve. How I'm not gonna meet with Tim Cook? You was employed to Steve. I'm Steve. So, and of this music game, I am, but not under Lucian. You're saying I done invented every style of music of the past 20 years. I created the genre. I created weekend genre, Trav, Drake. You know, I'm going ahead and say, with all love, Future and Thug also, because the Auto-Tune album, 808s, if you think about it, no one think about it. Everybody think about Trav, Weekend, and Drake, but no one thinks about Future and Thug also, the Auto-Tune album. Now, everyone, they added what it was to it, but here's a new genre. It's called making your own money genre. And this music is called, like, take.
Jay is a genius, and we all know that he's been incredibly influential, and could quite possibly be one of the greatest artists of all time. But completely inventing the last 20 genres or the last 20 styles within hip hop. Listen, before Ye and before T-Pain, even when it came to 808s and Heartbreaks, and I remember when 808s and Heartbreaks came out, because it was really groundbreaking, and I loved 808s and Heartbreaks. But can't we give a little bit more credit to Andre 3000? It was a lot of people that had an influence. Andre 3000, Akon, 808s. Like, I'm not saying that he didn't have an influence, but it's a lot of people that impacted what was going on in the culture in addition to Ye. In addition to Ye, it was a lot of people that impacted what was happening in the culture. Cudi. It's a lot of people that was influenced by what was happening in the culture way before Ye with 808s and Heartbreaks. Like, I think that one of the most impactful things was when Andre 3000 and Big Boy dropped that double album, and it wasn't hardly no rapping on that mug. And I was like, whoa. And people mess with it. So, you know, a lot of people don't realize that Andre 3000 has switched over from Southern playalistic Cadillac funky music. We gonna get you high, high. A lot of people ain't familiar with that. See, y'all used to AT-Aliens and Hey Y'all and Big Boy and all of that stuff, but y'all not familiar with Players Ball. See, listen, man. Y'all can't talk this hip hop stuff to me because I'm really, 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 I lived it. Bone Thugs and Harmony, shit. You might as well throw Hey in the middle of the pond. You might as well throw that in there. Crucial Conflict. Do or Die. Do you wanna, Johnny P from Chicago? Do you wanna ride with me? Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg was one of the first ones that was killing it. Everybody was influenced by Roger and Zapp way before any of this other stuff. So listen, man, when we talk about this, come on, man. Come on, man. Let's get all the way to it. Everybody was, even when I remember when Roger Zapp, way before in the 80s, I remember when he dropped that is a song called Chocolate City that he dropped on the soundtrack with the Martin, where the chick was crazy on that Martin movie where she was super crazy. What was it called? I forgot what it was called. Chocolate City. When the city of release. Chocolate City. Come on, man. Come on, bro. It was a lot happening. Tila. A lot of people not familiar with Tila. Thin Line Between Love and Hate. That was the name of the song. That's the name of the soundtrack. The name of the movie was Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Obviously, we know Computer Love. It's a lot of things. And now, I do think that he's been very, very impactful and influential and all of that stuff. But man, let me tell you something, bro. I come from an era where I'm not just familiar with what happened in the 2010s and the 2000s and the mixtape era. Yo, I was listening to albums that was way back. I'm talking about, bro, let me tell you something, bro. I can name some albums that was in my favorite top 10 that a lot of y'all probably not even familiar with. I'm talking about Conscious Daughters, Christian. Shit, man. Bro, that's what we prided ourselves on, all of the different. See, y'all only know the popular stuff. I remember when Biggie dropped B-sides with the Brad and Funkdafied. So Funkdafied. You know what I'm saying? Like I was listening to different type of stuff that was way before a lot of these people ever came into existence. So, I don't agree. I think that 808 and Heartbreaks was a transformational album and it was a breakthrough album and it was very influential at the time. But I also remember a lot of these other albums that had a very, very, very big impact way before Ye even came into existence. That maybe even he was influenced by. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, bro. I don't know.
That middleman out, because they ain't giving us money, they giving us acknowledgement. I don't want your acknowledgement. And I went so far past any level of acknowledgement. I was banished, I was exiled, I was canceled multiple times. So what, I done had like my kids not show up to Sunday service, right?
Somebody said you can't be a musical genius and not know how to play an instrument. Tell that to Michael Jackson. There's plenty of stories where Michael Jackson did not know how to play a musical instrument, but as a result, his brothers did, or he would sing what it is that he wanted people to play inside of it. Man, come on, man. Listen, that's not true. That's not true, bro. Not true.
Right in front of everybody, and you know what I mean? Like I'm crying to see my daughter and all of the usual suspects, the handlers, Dave Chappelle, Meek Mills, Diddy, all these people aren't in position. And for us as celebrities, they got to call and put a leash on them. What are we going to do with Ye? He delusional, that's the best. Dave, give him a call. Diddy, give him a call. Tell him we ain't like the t-shirt. Tell him like right now the agenda is, this is the voting agenda for the celebrities, for the black. Make them do exactly what LeBron would do. Make them do exactly what Drake would do. And y'all know my stance on this. I want to say something about the number one. What's so good is the fuck you of it. And for everybody that's working at a normal ass job, like a fast food restaurant, or somebody girlfriend that left them for some nigga with more money or whatever the fuck it is, all nigga want to do is just like pull up in that so they can pull it right in front of this bitch and be like, fuck you. Now I just pulled up on everybody from last year cancellation, like, fuck all you niggas, fuck you, fuck your mom.
Nah, that's ego. I mess with Ye, and I rock with Ye to a larger extent. But yeah, Pete Rock and CO Smooth was slapping. It's a lot of people that was slapping. I loved Mr. Mike. A lot of people not familiar with Mr. Mike. I don't think that Twista get enough credit. I don't think that Rap a Lot was dope. Everybody on the West Coast. There was a time in my life where all I did was listen to the West Coast music. I was listening to Richie Rich. I still listen to Filthy Rich out there in Oakland. Shout out to Filthy Rich. I was listening to Richie Rich. Damn. I listen to Naughty by Nature. Tretch don't get enough credit. Busta Rhymes was one of the greatest concerts that I ever been to back in the day. Man, it's too many to name. We can go to Tribe Called Quest. We can go into the Fu-Schnickens. We can go into Das Effects. We can go into the Lost Boys. Diggable Planets. PM Dawn. Man, look, bro. Look, boy, Big 5'9", Filthy Rich. Drew Down, shout out to Drew Down. Shout out to my dog from the Loonies. Shout out to the Loonies. The Fugees, Razzcast, Rassassination, Onyx, Elzai from my boys my boys over here in Detroit. You know, Climax and all of that. Yeah, man, that was one of my favorite albums. Far Side, shout out to the Far Side. Yeah, man, it's a lot of people, bro. It's a lot of people. EPMD, yep. DJ Quick, I was really down with DJ Quick. Yo, I remember when DJ Quick and MC8. A lot of people not familiar with the Compton Psycho. Compton Psycho, MC8, DJ Quick. Tonight's the Night. Yeah, a lot of people not familiar with Tonight's the Night, where he was drinking. He was sitting there and he was looking straight and he had that fucking messed up cover photo, and then he came back and he was in all red, and all of a sudden he was a blood and all of that stuff. Yeah, man, I'm familiar with all of that stuff. So shout out to all of the people that's in the chat that understand the game and understand Slum Village. Yep. Shout out to everybody in the chat that understand history. Okay, so we got some people in the chat that actually understand Compton's Most Wanted. Yep, CM Dub, Spice One, X Clan. Yeah, shout out to the people in the chat that actually understand what's happening out here in these streets. All right. Yeah, all right. I see y'all. All right, y'all. Unfortunately, we got to go over to Don Lemon. Jawan Hart says Cortex Hewitt, October 1971. I don't know what that means, bro. You got to give me some insight on that. I don't know what you implement or what you're referring to. But you got to give me a little bit of insight on that. Shout out to everybody that's out here in the streets that actually know what's happening. And Selly Cell, shout out to Selly Cell. Yeah, man, it was a lot of, Crips and Bloods. I don't know if anybody mentioned Crips and Bloods in the chat, but the Crips and Bloods had some dope albums. My mans used to always bring that Crips and Bloods album. A lot of people not familiar with KD. Hitting corners, riding in the back, sun rooftop, dig in the scene where the players lean, cruising up on you, hitting corners. Boom. My boy Mac 10, nothing but a cabbie hit. What do you consider fun? That's the bomb. That's the bomb. All day, night, and all day long. That's the bomb. That's the bomb. When you wake up in the... Boy, don't get me started with the West Side Connection. Dub SC. All right, y'all. We got to get off this. We'll be here all night. talking about this stuff.